Savai bhavān veda samasta-guhyam.
Savai bhavān veda samasta-guhyam.
Upāsito yat puruṣaḥ purāṇaḥ.
Upāsito yat puruṣaḥ purāṇaḥ.
Para-avara-īśaḥ manasaiva viśvam.
Para-avara-īśaḥ manasaiva viśvam.
Sṛjati avaty guṇair asaṅgaḥ. Savai bhavān veda samasta-guhyam.
Savai bhavān veda samasta-guhyam.
Upāsito yat puruṣaḥ purāṇaḥ.
Upāsito yat puruṣaḥ purāṇaḥ.
Parāvareśo manasaiva viśvam.
Parāvareśo manasaiva viśvam.
Sṛjati avaty guṇair asaṅgaḥ. Savai bhavān veda samasta-guhyam.
Savai bhavān veda samasta-guhyam.
Upāsito yat puruṣaḥ purāṇaḥ.
Upāsito yat puruṣaḥ purāṇaḥ.
Parāvareśo manasaiva viśvam.
Para-avara-īśaḥ manasaiva viśvam.
Sṛjati avaty guṇair asaṅgaḥ. Sa, does, vai, certainly, bhavān, yourself, veda, no, samasta, all inclusive, guhyam, confidential, upāsitaḥ, devotee of, jat, because, puruṣaḥ, the personality of Godhead, purāṇaḥ, the oldest, para-avara-īśaḥ, the controller of the material and spiritual worlds, manasā, mind, eva, only, viśvam, the universe, sṛjati, creates, avaty, atti, annihilates, guṇair, by the qualitative matter, asaṅgaḥ, unattached. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. My Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world and the maintainer of the spiritual world, the original personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Please repeat after me. My Lord, everything that is mysterious, is known to you, because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world, and the maintainer of the spiritual world, the original personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A person who is cent% engaged in service of the Lord is the emblem of all knowledge. Such a devotee of the Lord in full perfection of devotional service is also perfect by the qualification of the personality of Godhead. As such, the eightfold perfections of mystic power, asta-siddhi, constitute very little of his godly opulence. A devotee like Narada can act wonderfully by his spiritual perfection, which every individual is trying to attain. Srila Narada is a cent% perfect living being, although not equal to the personality of Godhead. My Lord, everything that is mysterious is known to you because you worship the creator and destroyer of the material world and the maintainer of the spiritual world, the original personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to the three modes of material nature. So here Narad Muni is being addressed by Srila Vasudev. Simple words he is saying that you know everything. Nothing is unknown to you. And why? Because you worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the creator and destroyer of the material nature and who is the maintainer of the spiritual world. So he is indicating, and Prabhupada is also pointing out in the purport, that when one worships Krishna, he becomes endowed with his qualities. That is the effect of association. Association means being in contact. So what happens when you are in contact with electricity? Dulal Charan, what happens when you touch a live wire? Na tumi jodi touch karo. Shock. Right? So what happens? The electric currents, because of your contact, it flows through you. Right? Of course, you get the shock because you can't tolerate that. Your body resists. The electricity comes and the body cannot take that. Right? So that is the shock. But when it runs through a cable and comes, as you said, to the electric bulb, the bulb lights up. So that is what happens in being in contact. So when one becomes connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then what happens, Radhika Jiva?
You come closer to Krishna. You come closer to Krishna.
No, I mean in this context, what we are discussing, yes.
You start attaining the same qualities.
It attains the same quality. Jasyasti bhaktir bhagavat takinchana sarvai guṇais tatra samasati sura. Jasyasti bhaktir bhagavat akinchana. When one becomes connected to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotional service, then sarvai guṇais tatra, all the divine qualities become manifest in him. So that's the difference. In the material nature, we have to acquire different qualities when we are on our own. We have to acquire qualities. For example, somebody has to go to the gym and work out to get some power, physical strength. But when one becomes a devotee and becomes connected to Krishna, then he automatically gets the power. Say for example, Hanuman. Can you imagine Hanuman's power? Can you give me an example of Hanuman's power? How powerful was Hanuman?
Hanuman crossed the
river
into the Lanka.
Yeah, he jumped across the ocean into Lanka from India. Who can perform such a feat? Now, how could Hanuman do that? Because he is a devotee, he was endowed with the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that was Hanuman's first performance. He jumped across Lanka. What was his second performance? Guru Govinda.
Is that when he brought the hill?
Right, before that he jumped from Lanka to Himalaya.
Oh, okay, yes, yeah.
First jump was from the tip of India to Lanka. The second jump was from Lanka to the Himalayas, the northern part of India. And the third performance?
He brought the hill from Himalaya.
He carried a mountain from Himalaya to Sri Lanka. People will say these are all fairy tales. But are they fairy tales? If it was, well, one simple consideration is, If it was fairy tales, then why a personality like Srila Prabhupada accepted? We have seen Prabhupada's intelligence. Okay, let's go further. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, the ministers of the king of Bengal. Ministers of Bengal. Chief minister and finance minister. And they gave up everything and went to Vrindavan. Just like living there like a mendicant. Such personalities, why did they accept it? And why in India, since time immemorial, people are believing that? It's only recently that some people are questioning that. Oh well, is it really true? These statements of the Vedic literatures are mythology. They are fairy tales. But the thing is that much more intelligent people who have proven their sincerity through their own action, they have accepted these. So why shouldn't we accept it? And it's not just one or two persons. All these people have accepted it. We can consider, as I said, Srila Prabhupada. Bhakti, in our own line, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The most brilliant personality of that time. His father, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, a deputy magistrate in the British government, one of the greatest intellectuals. His poetry is so brilliant. His writings are so brilliant. His probing into, his writings is presenting the most profound spiritual philosophy. Why do these people have accepted it? So who are we to question? If they are fairy tales, okay, fine. Krishna Mukunda, when you were young, were you impressed with some fairy tale? Can you remember one such fairy tale?
Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock Holmes. It's not fairy tale. It's a detective story.
Snow White.
Snow White, okay. Snow White. Snow White. Do you believe Snow White now? At that time it was you were so fascinated. But now do you accept it? Why not?
I know it's not fact.
Huh?
I know it's not.
Because your intelligence pointed out that that's not real. But did Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when his maturity, give up Hanuman's activities? No. Did Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur give up? So this is the difference. Like when we are children, we may believe in some fairy tale, right? Like we believed in so many things, Superman. When we are young, Superman was the thing, Flash Gordon, and things like that. Yeah. But the thing is that when you grow up, you discarded them. But we see that these personalities in the highest maturity of their intellectual development, still they're not only accepting it, but writing about it. So this is how we have to recognize that all these presentations are factual. They're not fairy tales. Those who are saying that these are fairy tales, they never read them. If they read, they could see that, it cannot be. Like, not only one scripture is saying one thing. All the scriptures are saying same thing. So how can, like something that is fairy tale, somebody, like say for example, take any such Hobbit. There was one storybook that became very popular when we are young. But now nobody talks about Hobbit. Now there is other things, Star Wars, and what is that magical thing?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. But the thing is, do grown-up people delve into that? They go for entertainment. Oh, nice production, beautiful artwork, beautiful animation, and so forth. But the thing is, the heart of their hearts, they know that they are not real. But in India, we see that, from everyone practically accepted it from the childhood all the way up to their maturity. So this is how the point here is that when one becomes a devotee, becoming a devotee means Shanta, what does it mean to be a devotee?
Accept, surrender unto Krishna. Surrender unto Krishna.
Surrender unto, very good. To be a devotee means
Associating with Krishna. Associating with Krishna.
Associating with Krishna. To be a devotee means to be in love with Krishna, which begins with surrender. First we surrender, then we get closer and closer and closer to Him, because through surrender we get to know Him, and as we get closer to Him, we become aware of His wonderful personality, and we fall in love with Him. So ultimately devotion means to be in love with Him. And when you love somebody, what do you do? Gadadhar, do you love your children?
Yes.
And what do you do? Do you just tell them, I love you, I love you, I love you? How many times you tell them, I love you? And what do you do?
We try to what they require and what
Yeah,
they
right. Provide what they require. That's the expression of love. You love somebody, you want to provide for what they want, what they need. So similar, and that means action. That means service. Therefore, love and service they go hand in hand. Therefore, devotional service. If we love Krishna, we serve Krishna. So, when we develop our devotion to Krishna or love for Krishna, through love what happens? Rasananda?
One comes under the control.
Is it? Okay. Through love? Yeah, Guru Govinda.
One becomes attached and...
Yeah, right. One becomes connected, attached, connected. Attached means attached, detached, isn't it? Attachment means contact, being together. Through love, we come close to each other. So when we love Krishna, we come close to Krishna, become connected to Krishna, attached to Krishna. Then what happens? Then Krishna's qualities start to become manifest. As I was saying, when you touch electric cable, live electric cable, what happens? Electricity passes through your body. When you touch something fragrant, what happens? You become fragrant. You get fragrance. So this is how, by coming in contact, you develop those qualities. For example, if you come in contact with a very rich person, don't you also become rich? Say, when you come in contact, say another example of coming in contact. Somebody comes in contact with Microsoft. What happens? He gets a fat salary. By coming in contact, he becomes rich. By coming in contact with a rich person, becomes rich. By coming in contact with a famous person, you become famous. Similarly, by coming in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, you also develop those qualities, but not to the fullest extent, but to a limited extent. That is what he wants you to do. See, surrender, it started off with Shanta Shiromani's point, surrender. Surrender means what? Surrender means, I'll do whatever you want. Isn't it? I'll do whatever you want. Right? Like, I see how surrendered you are. When I want something, everyone is fired up to get it done. Because you are surrendered to me. But when I go, then things happen in a different way. Anyway, I'll talk about it later with you all. So surrender means doing whatever he wants you to do. Isn't it? Surrender means obedient. Obedience and surrender. Those who are surrendered, they are obedient. Those who are not surrendered, they are disobedient. Obedient means? What's the meaning of obedient?
To follow whatever is asked.
Doing whatever he wants you to do. Right? Like the soldiers are surrendered to the general. General says, charge. They go, they don't consider anything else. General says, charge, they charge. That's obedience. But a person, oh, the general said, charge, my God, somebody is there with a gun. My life is not safe. And he kind of doesn't follow the command. Is he surrendered? So this is how surrendered means obedience. So, and when one becomes obedient, then the person uses him for his mission, for his purpose. Like, we always see that the master loves the servant who is obedient, isn't it? Like if a master has two servants, one servant listens to the master, the other servant doesn't listen to the master. So who the master will be pleased with? So similarly, the Supreme Master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when we surrender unto Him, He becomes pleased with us. And then He uses us. And that is the meaning of being empowered. Empowered. Devotee becomes empowered by the Lord. Who could ever do what Prabhupada has done? Can anybody do what Prabhupada has done? Has there been any instance in the history anyone achieved the way what Prabhupada achieved? Simple consideration. 70 years old, Indian, comes to America, not a single penny in his pocket. Not a single penny in his pocket. He had 40 rupees, but those 40 rupees doesn't have any value. Could he do anything with the 40 rupees?
He couldn't even change them.
That's what I mean. Like, he couldn't go to the bank and say, well, I have 40 rupees. Whatever the value is, $6. 40 rupees those days was $6. Now 40 rupees is 60 cents. So...
But we have, was that 40 rupees he gave to Vrindavan Chandraguru?
No. Prabhupada himself said that he carried the 40 rupees. He said that that money he had, and a taxiwala cheated him in Delhi. When he went back to Delhi, the taxi driver took away that 40 rupees when he went back to India. That's what Prabhupada himself said. Who should we believe? So, so anyway, so this is Prabhupada comes to America penniless, 70 years old. Didn't know where he was going to stay. There was a vague possibility. Gopal Agarwal, he wrote to him that I am coming. If Gopal Agarwal did not make arrangement for Srila Prabhupada, and Gopal Agarwal didn't even know Srila Prabhupada. His father knew Prabhupada, and his father asked him to sponsor Srila Prabhupada's visa. So that's what he did, and he thought that was the end of it. But then he gets a letter, I'm coming. Fortunately, Gopal Agarwal made some arrangement for Prabhupada to be picked up in the port and put him in a Greyhound bus to go to Butler, Pennsylvania. And then we see what happened in 10 years' time. Like the movement spread all over the world. If we consider this like a victory, like a conquering something, like has there been anyone in the history of the world who did not have any army? Alone he went to a foreign land, raised an army, right? And conquered that nation, that country, and the whole world. I mean, Prabhupada's achievement is something synonymous to that. A person who came to a foreign country without any resources, and he created his army of devotees. And through those devotees, he launched an attack and conquered the whole world. Kara, when you hear these things, how do you feel?
In awe.
In awe. Very good. Very good. Yeah, that's it, in awe. How can anybody ever achieve such a thing? So that shows, and now the bottom line is what? Prabhupada was empowered by Krishna. Time and time again Prabhupada said that Krishna made all these arrangements. And didn't Krishna make all the arrangement? If you look at the history, Prabhupada came to America at the perfect time. If you look at the history of America, Second World War, America reached the height of its material prosperity. America reached the height of its material prosperity. But the youth of America became disappointed, disgruntled. So many factors: Vietnam War, counterculture, LSD culture, and flower power, right? Searching for positive alternative, right? And right at that time, Prabhupada comes here. Like already the youth of America the intelligent youth of America, they were searching for a positive alternative, something. They saw that this life cannot be the ultimate goal. This is not what we want. And their thing was, money cannot buy love. We want love. We don't want money. Money cannot buy love. And they came across Srila Prabhupada. And those who are really intelligent, they saw, this is it. This is the person who is actually giving us what we are looking for. Prabhupada gave us the understanding what real love is. Real love is not just sex. Real love is something divine. Real love is spiritual. Unless and until one is in the spiritual platform, he cannot experience real love. And the love is for Krishna. And then that love is distributed or reflected to Krishna's parts and parcels. So this is how Srila Prabhupada actually brought this message, and intelligent class of people in America recognized that. Then they went out to do things. Prabhupada inspired them, motivated them. After New York, when New York started to, Krishna consciousness started to blossom, go to San Francisco. And that also just one couple. Mukunda Maharaj, and at that time he was a householder, just got married, Janaki, his wife. They went and started in San Francisco. New York, Srila Prabhupada started. San Francisco, these three young couples started. Mukunda Maharaj, Janaki Devi, Shyamsundar Prabhu, Mother Malati, and Gurudas Prabhu and Mother Jamuna. The six of them went and started it in San Francisco. And there was a Hare Krishna explosion. Then from then onwards, just started to spread all over. Then these three couples said, okay, America has been conquered, or at least the battle is set to conquer America. Now let's go to England, London. And they were struggling. Who, at least Prabhupada, people could at least recognize. He's an elderly Indian person, very scholarly, very erudite, very charismatic. So that's one thing. But these six American couples, three American couples, and who is their customer? The Indians in London. And you know the Indians' attitude? Oh, I know better than you. What do you know? So do the Indians were ready to listen to them? No. Some Indians were generous to them and allowed them to stay in their house. But that's about all. They never took to their teachings. But then Krishna arranges the most famous person of that time, George Harrison, is attracted. The Beatles become involved. And when the Beatles became involved, the youth of all over the world started to wonder, oh, Beatles are Hare Krishna. Beatles are chanting Hare Krishna. So we also must chant Hare Krishna. My sweet Lord. So are these all accidental phenomena, or they are arranged by Sri Krishna? So this is how Krishna empowers his devotee. Therefore, when we serve Krishna, we have to have full confidence. We are serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If we are sincere, He will use us in His mission. And what's His mission? His mission is to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, in every town and village. Will it happen?
Yes.
Yesterday I was asking Gadadhar. He was saying, what was your answer? Anyway, his answer was doubtful. Then when I pushed it, maybe it will happen, but long after many, many years. That is the thing. We have to recognize that Krishna is the Supreme Personality. Did Krishna create this material nature after many, many millions of years? Or He just looked at the material nature and the material nature became manifest? When He wanted to create light, did He have to build a big generator to supply the light? Or He said, let there be light. And there was light.
Just a moment.
Don't have any doubt about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's statements. When Bhakti Vinod Thakur didn't have any doubt, 100 years, more than 100 years ago, why should we have doubt? after we've seen what is happening. Could anybody imagine that Krishna consciousness will spread the way it spread in all over the world? 50, 60 years back, could anybody imagine that? But today we are seeing that it's happening. So if it can go this far, then I'm sure it will go to the ultimate point. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Does anybody have any question? Yes, Guru Maharaj.
The purport was very nice. Reminded me, the qualities reminded me of yourself. So thank you for being there for us.
Quality reminded you
of your qualities.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
And I had a question that, just as you mentioned how Mukunda Maharaj and others, in separation from Prabhupada, they did such great service.
That's true.
And sometimes, when the spiritual master is not physically present, the resistance that you were talking about can build up. And by the presence of the spiritual master, the love begins to manifest and the resistance dies down. Now we see Srila Prabhupada apparently is gone. But all the great things that have happened in the movement are actually due to that reciprocal, loving, non-resistant relationship. So as disciples, how do we tap into that non-resistance within absence of the spiritual master?
Well, we have to go back to the Bopu and Bani, the physical association with the spiritual master and associating the spiritual master through his instructions. So Bopu is gross and Bani is not only subtle but spiritual. Like Bopu is something that is perceivable by our senses. We can see the person, we can touch the person, we can directly hear from him. But Vani, we have to see his presence. This is what he wants, so let me do it. So that is the Vani aspect. And the Vani, Prabhupada pointed out time and time again, that it is through Vani that the permanent relationship is established. That Vani aspect of the spiritual master is eternal.
So, can we say that we should try to establish more of a heartfelt relationship where one is always connected under all circumstances?
True, yeah. And that also has to be founded on real substance, not just sentiment. And that's what we mean by heartfelt, real. But you know, devotees need reminder, right? Like, just as, you know, like when the person is here because of his presence, you feel that. But you know, even if the person is not there, but you know, if he is in contact with them, that also helps. Yes?
It seems that if everybody works in this way, Prabhupada's connection to Krishna and his will and Krishna's will be very quickly executed.
Yes, yes.
Because of the lack of resistance.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Any other question? No question?
No, not today.
Okay. So we'll wait for tomorrow. Okay? The kitchen, the dining room looks gorgeous.
Thanks to everyone.
But everyone knows who should deserve the thanks.